Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are now on to episode 14 of season 7, and this one is called Thief.
Yeah,
Brian, can you tell me a little bit about the legacy of Thief?
I can tell you it's spelt wrong. Guy doesn't
Is
know
it?
how to spell thief. um, yeah, I, I don't think this is coming up on anybody's top 10 lists or anything. I can't imagine it doing so. I also can't imagine it coming up on anybody's bottom 10 lists. It's one of those episodes I feel that is just there, that isn't particularly memorable. When you ask people to just talk about X Files off the cuff, again, can't imagine this entering the conversation for any particular reason. But yeah, sometimes that's fine. There's lots
Mm.
of episodes that are like that where they're neither the best, neither the worst, and you watch them, you have fun while you watch them, and you will watch them again when you do a run through. But
Mm.
I feel like that's what we're in for tonight, and I feel like that's generally how it's considered amongst X Files fandom as well. I could be completely wrong, but that's just a sense I
Mm.
get.
I mean, I'm going to guess you're right on the money. This is one of
Mm,
those episodes that I've watched it twice.
mm.
I watched it previously, and then just before we come on to record, I've watched it again. I don't think I can remember anything about it. It's one of those episodes where you're just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Next.
yeah. Okay. Do you want to hazard a guess where it
Go.
sits in the ranking of season 7 on IMDb? We've got 22 episodes. Where does this sit?
12.
Oh, okay. You aimed a little high. It was 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
considered
it's
18.
in the bottom five of this season then.
Yes, apparently so. It only just breaks the bottom 5. So
Hmm.
if this any other year, I guess, or like any year of the X Files that we've done, if this is in the bottom 5, I'm like, all right, that's a decent season then. I'm
Not this season.
I, I personally don't know that I would put this in the bottom 5. It'd definitely be in my bottom half, but I don't know. I just think if you got this episode in your bottom 5, then your season's doing all right.
Mm.
I would say. Yeah. So 18 across the season, but where do you think across the 217 episodes?
193.
162.
Right, okay. Okay. I mean, I feel like this one's a really hard one to nail down because it
Yeah.
feels like it doesn't feel bad, but it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like I look at the bottom 2 episodes of this season and I'm like, yeah, they would make my bottom 5. Very clear front runners. And then the rest of what's in there, I'm kind of like, yeah, all right. They're in there because you've got to do a bottom 5, but not
Mhm.
necessarily because they're absolute stinkers. So yeah, that's where we're at. I feel like we've probably given the game away as to where we sit in this episode, but it's
Yeah,
fine.
I think you'll get that with the real lack of energy that we're going to have during this episode.
Okay, so I was getting a sanguinarium vibe from this
Yeah.
episode. To be honest, there's things in it where I'm like, haven't we seen this? And then I'm like,
Mhm.
no, it's sanguinarium because that was like we're dealing with a doctor and like medical kind of malpracticey type stuff that was more
Mhm.
sinister than it appeared to be, and yeah, it had some crisscross there, I feel. But so we open up on a rich family, a doctor family, coming home. They're taking photos. They're celebrating the big night. The dad's won like Doctor of the Year or some nonsense like that. And they have a discussion about it in bed, and yeah, it's all great, this, that, and the other, cherry on top, and all that. Then the wife's father, who is staying with them, who seems to be quite nice, the husband seems to have a good relationship with him. He seems to compliment the son-in-law, so doesn't seem like your typical kind of father-in-law relationship or parent-in-law relationship. The wife's father opens his bed cover to find an ash man, a little man made of ash. And then creepy guy stands behind him, and the husband goes to check the sensors because they're going off downstairs. Yeah. He goes downstairs and he finds the dad, or the dad-in-law, hanging with the word thief spelt wrong, painted on the wall.
Yeah. And you're just like, cool, voodoo.
It's never my go-to thing. Like in any horror capacity, voodoo doesn't tend to be the thing that that lights my fire, shall we say?
No. Especially not if you've got someone that's got one of those like New Orleans Bayou accents. Like that's one of those things where you're just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Even if it is Billy Drago, it's still
yeah. I saw recently the Wes Craven film Serpent and the Rainbow, and that it's rated as being one of his more higher rated movies if you look on like movie sites and stuff, whereas for me it was in like my bottom quarter for Wes Craven. I didn't like it because I just don't gravitate to voodoo. Anything voodoo related, it bores me for whatever reason. Very much like that episode that we had, Fresh Bones, that again was all voodoo, and it just bored me. But
I don't know if it is just too shy.
Not Too Shy. No, Too Shy is the fat eater.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking the one. What's the prison one?
Yeah, you're on about. I know what it is, but it was directed by Chris Carter, and it was boring. It was super boring, and there was so much padding and filler in it. But just voodoo, it just tends to be a sign that it's going to be pretty poor, to be honest. So Mulder and Scully discuss the bad spelling of the word thief and why they are here. Where's the X-file? Scully asks. To which Mulder replies, Hexcraft. Scully keeps Mulder guessing. So where did that come from? Because she says something that's going to keep him guessing something. They have a little conversation, a bit of banter. I can't remember exactly what it's about, but she implies, I think, something along the lines of, that she thinks it might be this, and it turns out to be like something that's like of a paranormal nature, and it's like, it makes Mulder go, "Ooh, okay." It also kind of shows that Scully is coming more over to that side of the fence. That given everything that she's been through and seen, and that there does tend to be more of an openness with Scully to go into those kind of areas rather than just completely shut them down. So they speak to the family, and they ask them if they had any enemies, and they say no, we've got no enemies. We're pretty well loved. We're a lovely bunch of people. Whenever I see a scene like that, I always think, nah, there's something there. One of you's lying. But the woman cleans her carpet, but her house looks awful. Yeah, so we go we go to this scene. So this is the house that the Billy Drago character lives in. So he's kind of like paying bed and board or something to have what looks like Harry Potter's basement. We're taken into this place by this this woman who starts hoovering the place, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, girl, it needs a heck of a lot more than a hoovering to make
Yeah.
that place look even close to being attractive. Just seems like an afterthought at that point.
Yeah, I think probably the best thing to clean that would be fire.
Yeah.
Um,
Cleansing fire. So she hears chanting from under the stairs in the Harry Potter room, and she calls through to Petey, which is not the name I would have anticipated from this
No.
dude. Petey. Hey Petey, you alright? And she's like, you ain't supposed to be cooking. And then he comes out and he's like, I'll fix you something for your back, because she's got back trouble. And yeah, I don't know why he's not supposed to be cooking. Is he not allowed to cook? Is he not allowed to make himself meals?
I have no idea.
Is he on
I
some
mean,
form of probation for previous cookery crimes? I don't know. So,
it's just weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But okay, so
But anyway, he gives her drugs.
yeah, it gives her drugs, supply, and all that. Keeps her happy, keeps the back pain away, and she swans off, and we see that he's making some dolls, clearly voodoo dolls, and yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
we
And
know.
I think that's one of the things of this episode is there's no surprises.
Mm,
There's no twists or turns. It is exactly what it says it is.
yeah, you know exactly what's going on.
Mm.
And it doesn't take too long to figure out that the doctor is responsible for killing someone or the death of someone
Yeah.
that was close to this guy. It's quite obvious he's got a vendetta against this doctor, the doctor who saves lives and has won the award for best of the year. It's clearly going to have something in his past that.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, I was expecting the doctor to be like, I don't know.
A bad guy.
In some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That is actually the thing that I like about this episode.
Yes.
Is that this isn't about someone who's a bad guy and has tried to cover it up. Quite the contrary. It's someone who, like we'll get to it. Scully says herself she'd have done the exact same thing in his situation. So, so Mulder gives Scully the lowdown on the grave soil that was found in the bed. Scully says the blood had kuru, a disease found in a tribe that eats the brains of its own relatives. Yummy. Kuru makes you crazy enough to kill yourself. So, is that what happened? Did the father have kuru and then just hung himself? Because, yeah, clearly not.
I mean, again, it's mute. We know. There's a guy in the room. We know it was some.
So the wife finds family photos missing, and Robert, that's the husband, says the police must have taken it. Now this guy who plays Robert, who plays the husband, he is yet again another James Wong and Glenn Morgan alumni from their days over at Space Above and Beyond. He played like one of the commanding officers in Space Above and Beyond. So I don't think he's been in the X-Files already. I'm not sure if this is a second role for him. I'm pretty sure it's his first over here, but safe to say that at this point, all of the Space Above and Beyond crew have made their way over to the X-Files.
Yeah.
It's just a shame they do tend to be in average episodes, like basement episodes. It's a shame for them. They came from a basement series and ended up in basement X-Files episodes.
Yeah.
So Petey puts the wife's picture's head inside a doll. So he cuts the head off the picture of the wife, puts it inside one of the voodoo dolls. The wife starts freaking out, and the husband tries to calm her down, but she dies while Petey talks to his doll, or at least it appears as though she dies. That's my instant kind of, oh no, she's gone.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
No.
But yeah, apparently not. So
she's got a little while to go. She gets a good death.
Yeah. Pretty brutal. Mulder and Scully tell Robert his wife's condition. A very rare virus is magic indeed induced. Robert poo-poos the notion because he's a man of science. He's literally, I think he actually says in those words, "I'm a man of science." So something along those lines. But yeah, it's basically that age-old adage of, if you believe in science, you can't believe in mysticism or magic or anything like that.
I think we should have a moment for that awesome writing of "I'm a man of science." God damn it!
So yeah, so it's clearly it's one of those episodes where it's like, the man of science is like slowly going to realize that the world isn't all just about science, that it does have the mystical element, the spiritual element. So yeah. So it's at this point in the episode that I realise that Petey isn't actually called Petey at all. It's Petite or something. Petit. It's got a weird name anyway. It's spelt strange. It's like
Right.
Petetti. That's how it looks like it's spelt. Because I looked at it on the screen thing or whatever it was. So he speaks to Robert, intimidates him, says that the truth hurts. He implies that he's responsible for what happened to Annette Petit, or Petit. I don't know. Screw that name. So yeah, pretty clear what's going on there. The only question is whether or not this guy knows what he did and tried to cover it up, or whether it's a misunderstanding. And that's really the only surprise that the episode kind of leaves. So Robert gets a lab tech to look at the names for Petey. He finds nothing. So he gets him to look at the Jane Does that came in instead. Turns out he had 3. And one of them, something to, I watched this over a week ago. I can't remember anything in my notes. So
I
you're going to
watched
have
it an hour ago.
So all I've got written down as a note is Thief of Man's Heart. So he finds a Jane Doe, or 3 Jane Does, and one of them, there's a link to them that says Thief of Man's Heart, but thief is spelt the same way as it is on his wall,
Right.
with the double E spelling. Any takers?
Okay. Nope.
No. Nice to see your memories back to its old self.
I mean, I do try.
Yeah, you're very trying. So Petit talks to himself, and the neighbour comes calling for more back medicine. And she says it's a bit stinky in here, and Petit says stinky's good. So yeah, kind of implies that it's the medicine that stinks, when in actual fact he's got a little bit of a Norman Bates syndrome thing going on. So Mulder and Scully go to a black magic shop. They ask about the soil. This is one of those scenes that I wouldn't really expect to be in the X-Files. I'd expected it to be in some like Buffy or Charmed or Smallville. It's like the FBI trying to find out about something, and they go to a black magic shop to ask about.
Do these places exist?
I don't.
I mean, I don't. I haven't walked down the high street and went, "Oh, Boots." So there's Holland and Barrett. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to pop into the old black magic shop here.
So Mulder and Scully go to the black magic shop to ask about the soil. They ask how to use it to kill someone, and the woman says, "Yeah, you use it like with a voodoo doll." That's what Mulder calls it anyway, but she said, "No, it's not a voodoo doll. It's a puppet. It's a voodoo puppet." So okay, but kind of looks like it does the same thing that a voodoo doll does, to be honest. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen enough movies and TV shows to know what a voodoo doll looks like. But so if the killer is as powerful as they say, then he's charmed, which is an item that he's got close that has meaning to him. And if you separate him from that charm, you will decrease his power. So yeah.
And what a charm it is.
It's very charming. So yeah, then we get the scene of the popping corn and the microwave voodoo puppet. So yeah, it's kind of humorous because this guy clearly doesn't know how to work technology. And he's really insistent on having some popping corn. And he keeps talking about, the popping corn. Oh, he loves his popping corn.
Even calling it that. Like calling it popping corn. It's just, it's weird.
It's popcorn, pal. Okay? It's popcorn. You can go at a stretch and call it microwave popcorn, but no one calls it popping corn. It's like, So, yeah, he puts his popping corn in the microwave along with the voodoo doll. And it's at that point that Robert's wife, who is in a machine, a radiology machine or something like an X-ray machine, MRI, whatever you want to call it. She goes up in smoke. It's basically like fries her. So, yeah, pleasant fellow, this lovely little voodoo man. But yeah, there you go. So Robert tells Mulder and Scully it was murder. Tells them about how tells them about Petit and Lynette. So Lynette was a patient that he mercy killed. Her father is the man that hates him for it, and Mulder asks him to let them protect him. So yeah, basically this woman got brought in. She'd been in a really nasty kind of pile up or whatever, and she was done for. She was going to die. She was in super pain, and literally at this point, giving her as much pain drugs as possible was like the best thing for her because she weren't coming out of it. So yeah, Mulder and Scully are at the graveyard exhuming Lynette, apparently, who was super hard to track down info on. It's almost like she doesn't exist, and it's almost like her dad doesn't exist. It's just like, like these guys are just so off the map. Like, they clearly don't use technology and things like that. They probably live in some hut somewhere in the hills.
Yeah, but I love how cocky Mulder is at this point. He's just be like, we're just going to take his talisman away. And the whole time you're like, there's not a body there.
Yeah. You're digging up an empty coffin there, pal. So yeah, he surmises that the body of the daughter is his charm. They dig it up and find out, well, it must be because it ain't there. He's taken it because he wants to keep his charm close. So he thinks PT operates in this city or has buried the body in this city to keep it close so that he's always got his charm close by, but turns out he needs it much closer than that. So, yeah. The neighbour goes in for more meds. This is how many times do we see this in movies and TV shows where someone who's a key holder, you really should know better, you really should keep their nose out and wait till the person gets back home, decides to have a little snoop. I think this happened actually in Too Shy. I'm sure a scene like this happened in Too Shy.
Possibly.
The key holder kind of let themselves in or whatever. It's definitely happened in the X-Files before, I'll tell you that. So, yeah. She goes in and finds Norma Bates lying on the bed. The old crusty body that's now, kind of well beyond its time. I'll just say that much. Yeah. Mulder and Scully move Robert and his daughter to a safe house. But Petit is watching from the bushes. When you're moving someone and you're thinking, let's get them to a safe house, wouldn't you think it'd be a good idea to check the perimeter first? just make sure that,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's no weird creepy guys hanging about, like
yeah,
incessantly watching the building where somebody is. Yeah.
mm-hmm, yeah, that'd be nice. So Mulder on night watch at Robert's house with a cop, and then they get news that tells of a woman dying. Uh, blah de blah de blah. Mulder puts two and two together, and he's out of there. The cop speaking to him turns around and find out Mulder's already gone. So Mulder's left his post and just left this guy on his own to. Yeah. Okay, so he bashes the door down to Petey's room and finds a headless body of Lynette. Obviously, the suggestion there being that he's taken the head with him to keep something of his charm close. Lovely.
Yeah.
Mhm. So Mulder calls Scully and tells her to keep an eye out. Yeah, thanks, Mulder. Just left your post. You couldn't have phoned them and said, just check what you're seeing there. Get it back to us. Just let us know what you see. Let us know what you find. So Petit stands outside, and all I could think at that point was, "What's in the box? What's in the box?"
Oh, we know what's in the box.
Yeah. So he's stood there with his little head-sized box. We all know what's in there, and we're all thinking 7 at this point. So yeah, Petit breaks into Scully's car and takes her badge and a hair. Not quite sure why she left her badge in the car, to be perfectly honest. Surely, as an FBI agent on duty, you would leave that on your person. I don't know, but whatever. So he blinds Scully. He makes one of his little voodoo puppets using her hair and all that, and then he blinds her, kind of stabs it in the eyes, and she's like, can't see. I do find it a little convenient that whenever he does something quite, vicious to one of these dolls, i.e. puts it in a microwave, then the person in real life actually gets microwaved. So
Yeah.
I find it a little bizarre that when he stabs the Scully doll in the eyes, she just goes blind. Her eyes just go white. They don't, pop because he's stabbed him in the...
Well, I can tell you why they don't, Brian, because there's still several more seasons to come and they can't have a blind FBI agent.
Ah, yes, of course. That does make sense. Okay,
Yeah.
moving on. Blind Scully wanders about the place with these white eyes, looking like the blind man from Don't Breathe. And she approaches the family and causes Robert some pain. So Petit approaches the family and he causes Robert some pain using another one of the dolls and stuff. And Mulder arrives and he sees the doll with the nails in the eyes just sitting there. So he thinks, oh, that's, we'll pull them out.
That's Scully. That's obviously Scully. Yeah.
Figures like whoever that was all for, I'll help him out. Pull out the, and rather than popping the eyes, her blindness just suddenly goes. Scully shoots Petit. Her eyes are back to normal. Mulder enters and shows her the doll. Yeah, so she's like, oh yeah, okay, I got you. We didn't really need that to know. She didn't
Cool
need that
doll,
to know.
Mulder. I just shot the perpetrator, by the way.
Yeah. Now's not the time to be playing with dolls, my friend.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Mulder, he touched you where? Like,
So Petit is in hospital bed, seemingly in a coma, whatever. Scully tells Mulder that she'd have made all the same choices that Robert made, but maybe they were wrong. And then, we fade out, and it's like end credits, blah 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 blah.
yeah, it's a weird episode because it's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Episode.
It's really not bad at all.
It's complete middle of the road.
Yeah,
the script feels kind of like, here's some of our best moments. We'll just throw them in here. We don't need to expand on this. We'll just what's enough information to sell this sequence. Mulder and Scully are fine within it. I feel as if it's like X-Files light
Yeah,
is what it is.
yeah.
And I think even the bad guy, like that kind of New Orleans accent, just feels lazy as well. Eh, and just it's lazy, average one. Like it's not a bad episode. I've
No,
watched it twice. I
yeah,
didn't mind watching it twice.
yeah.
Um, I just did I give it a three? Did I give it two and a half?
I'll go with a 3, to be
Okay, I'll go
honest.
with a three as well.
Yeah, I think I would actually go so far as to say it's a good episode. It's good, but nothing more than that. It's like, yeah, it's just it could be so much worse. It could be so much worse.
Yeah,
You know, I just think it's you can kind of see all the plot beats coming, but it is a complete story. It doesn't feel like anything's missing. It doesn't feel like, badly written in the sense that it's full of plot holes or anything like that. Just a little bit formulaic. Entertaining
yeah,
moments, some good banter between Mulder and Scully. Um, I do like what it's discussing. This notion of, yeah, doctors make decisions all the time, and even though they make them for the best reasons, what if they're wrong? What if they are wrong? In this instance, I don't think they are, but like, it does.
yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those questions that like, yeah. So 3 out of 5 for me. 3 out of 5.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just it's just one of those. It is it's a horrible one to really talk about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Brian, tell me a little bit about episode 15. Is it Enemy?
I I don't know. I think I might be getting this confused with. See, from this point on, things get fuzzy. I
Right.
might be although season 8 I did actually watch quite a bit, so I might be back on board come season 8. Have we got a plot synopsis? Can we find that
What synopsis? Yes, give me a second.
of,
I'll see if I can
of
pull one up here.
enemy? I just like if I hear it, then I might remember it. Um,
Okie dokie. A boy is miraculously cured of his cancer without medical treatment. After Scully visits the boy and his family, she is met by the cigarette smoking man. He offers Scully the chance to obtain the cure for all
Oh,
cancer
yes,
in
yes, yes.
exchange.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, okay. I got it. This is actually, if my memory serves me correct, a fan favorite.
okay.
Um, it's basically a road trip with Scully and Cancer Man.
Right,
It's
okay.
like it's like the most unlikely coupling of characters in which Cancer Man takes Scully on a road trip.
Mm.
And it's kind of like a case of, is he
So
telling
it's
the
a bit it's a,
truth?
it's a bit
Is
like
he lying?
when Cancer Man met Scully. Get
Yeah,
like a Harry
yeah,
met Sally
yeah,
type thing.
yeah, yeah. So I know there's a lot of people really love this episode.
Right.
It does have some ramifications much later on in the series as well, where they harken
Okay.
back to it. There's something that happens that could essentially be tied to this episode. That's what the fan theories are anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Memory serves me correct.
You've piqued my interest.
Hmm.
Certainly have. I would you say that the general audience is split on this episode, Enemy, or is it more towards favourable or
No, I would say it's more towards favourable. I think
okay?
like I think the majority of X Files fans would say this is one of the better ones
Hmm.
of season 7. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I could look here. I won't tell you. I will just look for
Okay.
my own amusement. Um, okay, so yeah, I know whether it is. You don't, but
Oh, nah, 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 nah.
yeah. But before I looked at my notes on the whole thing, I would have said that I it's my assumption, or
Mhm.
it's my recollection that this is a fan favorite of season 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm interested. I'm interested. I feel like we need something a little bit different after um, this Thief and the previous one, which was
First person shooter. Ugh,
the virtual
yeah.
reality third. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is. So we would love to know what you think of Thief. Do you feel it's an average episode? Do you feel it's better than that or worse than that? Leave us a comment. We always enjoy getting them, and it just helps us. Lets us know that there's other people out there, and we're not just
Is
talking to
there
each
is
other
there anyone
randomly.
out there that would actually dare to put it in their top 10? That's what I want to know.
Of all time or this season?
Of all time. Of all time.
I mean, there'll be somebody. Brian, we've seen that. We've seen that. What was that list we covered?
Oh, good grief. Yeah. The Collider one.
Collider. Yeah,
Yeah.
Collider. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. I'll be up there with the Faithful Symmetry and that. Anyway, we will see you next week when we are talking about Enemy. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you join us for the discussion. And we'll see you next week.